Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie, also known as Emtothethird, and this is a special edition of the Emtothethird Knitting Podcast. If you can hear in my voice and have, followed me elsewhere on social media, you will know that last week I got COVID for the first time, and I've spent the last week just trying to rest and feel better. But my voice is still a little funky. I'm definitely still feeling the fatigue. But I'm also beginning to feel antsy and feeling like I really want to, get myself in order. Everything feels very messy in my house and in my head. And so when I was doing a live stream last night, which I do or try to do every Tuesday, barring getting COVID, I was talking and asking if folks would be interested in me doing a WIP inventory, because I just feel like I have so many, and when I start thinking about how many I have, I get a little overwhelmed. I feel like there's a couple of reasons for this. One is that I used to use Ravelry a lot. I used to document my progress and projects on there, and I stopped using it during 2020 when they did that update that made the site inaccessible to people, and they didn't respond well, and I was like, well, as a podcaster who directs people there to look at patterns and stuff, I just was like, I don't really want to be using it, so I just kind of stopped using it. I started using paper, an actual journal, but then also during that time I moved across country. I started doing my business full-time and all these other factors, and so I just feel a little discombobulated. And when we were doing through my Discord server, we had a knit night, and B, who also has an amazing podcast, which I will link down below or up here, wherever, was like, okay, tell me your sign and also how many WIPs you have, which I thought was really funny. And I've been thinking about that though, and I honestly do not know how many I have. So I want to inventory them. I kind of got myself situated. I pulled a bunch here. There's some down here that you cannot see. I also have a couple obligation knitting projects that I'm working on right now or have queued up that are for trades or for samples for people. So I'm gonna include those because those are taking priority right now. And we're gonna tally up how many WIPs, and at the same time I'm gonna input them on Ravelry so that I keep a record of them. So yeah, we're just gonna go through each one and talk about them a little bit. So yeah, let's start with socks. So I'm definitely a sock knitter. I really enjoy knitting socks. Not a lot of people like knitting socks, I have learned. So my coworker Tim and I were talking about how knitters never knit for other knitters, and when we really like to knit a specific thing, we should do trades, because yeah, I love knitting socks, so I could knit him a pair of socks and he could also knit me something. So he's actually working on not Look at My Holes by James N. Watts, but the other one by James N. Watts that is a long sleeve, basically fishnet shirt for me, which I'm very excited about. And he was like, can I give you a skein of yarn from my stash that I want, that I don't know what to do with, I think would work for socks, but I don't want to knit them into socks? And I was like, great. So he brought me this skein of yarn that he got at Knit City a few years ago, pre-COVID, that's been sitting in his stash. And and I have been knitting them into a pair of socks for him. I'm just doing a normal kind of pattern, my, usual sock pattern, a little bit bigger. I'm doing 68 stitches, instead of 64, just to give a little bit more room. It's full ribbing all the way down. I did this cuff kind of long because I wanted it to fold and be the exact length of the foot of the sock. So, but also it's gonna shrink a little bit when it's worn. And then I included these stripes and this contrast color, which is a Darjeeling sock from Earl Grey Fiber Company. I don't know the color though. So yes, that is the first. I've been working on this during the last week, so it's actually going pretty fast. I'm almost, not almost to the toe, but getting pretty close to finishing the first one. And that is the first WIP. Now I'm gonna add it to Ravelry real quick. So on the marker, that's number one. I also want to keep a note written because I feel like I'm going to lose track. So that is project number one. So sock project number two is is in this little bag that my mom and grandma got me for Christmas. That basically is me. Little granny punk. This is a yarn that I've had in my stash for a long time. I believe that it is Lollipop yarns. I think the only time I've bought gobstoppers like this, which is what they call self-striping yarn when they wound it up like this, was in Petaluma at a yarn store that has since closed, on a trip that Kay and I took to their brother's wedding, which is a good number of years ago now, maybe like five or six. And so I pulled this to knit myself a pair of socks, which was going to be my like knit night project for the time being. I'm through the cuff. I like the way the colors are turning out. It's pretty cute, but I can't actually find the colorway on Lollipop yarns. Like maybe it was a one-off, I don't know. I don't have the tag or anything, so I thought I would find it, but I just can't find it. So this will get done. I kind of always have a pair of socks on the needles. I cast this on and knit this much during a sock knitting class that I was teaching earlier this year, and was using it as like how to knit with magic loop and whatnot. And again, I thought I would work on this during knit nights for a while, and then the whole thing with Tim happened and I started knitting his pair of socks, and these have been kind of on the back burner. I don't feel bad about having socks on the needles because sometimes I'll get this far and leave them, but I always come back to them at some point. So that is number two, just this pair of self-striping socks for myself. Okay, the last pair of socks, number three, is actually not cast on yet, but they are a trade with my really good friend Zoe, who you may know as Junebug and Darlin. She posted a sneak peek of a cross-stitch kit that she's going to be releasing soon that is a horseshoe, and I was like, I love it, but I don't want to make it for myself. So I was like, would you make it for me? And I was like, I'll knit you a pair of socks in exchange, and she was like, done, sold. So I pulled from my stash this skein from Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad in 2020. The colorway is called Candy Lane. It was from December. So love this color. I've been just like holding on to it for the perfect project. This seems like it's gonna be it. And she sent me a few pictures of socks that she has like saved in her Instagram, and so this is a post from the Knitting Chemist, and it's just a pair of socks with like a cute like stripe pattern, kind of like the same vibe as the main color. And so I'm going to kind of like use that as inspiration. Zoe is not a hot pink person, but because there's like micro stripes in it, I'm going to break into this amazing skein of Mondim that is dyed by La Vienne, for like a couple stripes in it. And then I'm also going to be using some of that same Earl Grey Fiber Company, like orangey brown. So this will be the palette for the socks, but mostly that green color at the end. So even though that is not cast on, it is gonna be one of the next things to cast on, just because I don't want the trade to linger. So that is coming up next. Okay, so now we're moving on from sock projects. So I actually have 2 blanket WIPs, which is a little unusual for me. So I want to talk about those. The first one is this crochet blanket that I have been working on. I just did a knit and chat video. I was working on this I think this is the right side. For links, so I will link that video in case you're curious about that. But it's pretty big and it is crocheted, so it's fingering weight. I'm using an E crochet hook, and it's pretty large at this point. I'm more than halfway done with it, which is why I keep pulling it out, but yes, it is very large. This is the side that I just did, and it is basically it's 4 rows of like a granny square motif, and then 2 rows of double crochet, and then alternating colors. And the colors that I'm using are from my Advent calendar from 2020. Which were all naturally dyed skeins from, I believe she was Danish, a Danish dyer. It's Favariet Lund is the name. I will post it down below. These are the skeins I have left, and I was using for this white, basically it was like a pure white merino that I was like doing some dye experiments on, that I had basically was testing out grays, so I had turned it into like an off-white. I just ran out of the 2 skeins of that I had, so I have switched to Mondim. I have a bunch of white in that, and I'm really enjoying the way that it's like kind of stiff because it's not merino and it's not superwash, so it's like working really, really well for the rest of the pattern. The last section that I did, I actually took all of the ends of the skeins, because I'm using almost the entire mini, but there was just like, you know, enough left over that I was like, ugh, it's driving me crazy. I have all these little like bits and bobs. So I wound them into one ball, and I'm going to incorporate this ball. I think you can kind of tell that there's like other colors peeking through, in as like that contrast color for a few rows as I go, just to like really use up every last bit of this yarn. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 9 more rows to do, and then I do also want to add a border. So I've been kind of picking this up as I go, and working on it. So I know it'll get done. I thought maybe I would finish it this week while I've been homesick, but that I have made some progress, but it just, each row takes a long time. I don't know, I can't tell you how many stitches they are. But yeah, it's got a good heft and weight to it. It's going to be really pretty, and I think by the time I'm done it'll fit on a twin size bed, which I think will be very cute. So yes, that is blanket project number 1 and also WIP number 4. And that's that little basket. Big basket. Okay. The other blanket that I've been working on is a baby blanket sample. This one I was like going for, working a lot on, but the yarn, the color that I was using in Barocco Vintage, as well as like every color of the other yarn that I was using, were like back ordered. So I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna bust this out, it's gonna be great, it's on pretty big needles. And then I just like had all the wind deflated out of me when I realized that the yarn wouldn't be available, so I could like kind of put it on hold for a while. So this is okay, so this is this baby blanket. Yeah, I think it's pretty cute. So there's slip stitches and they reverse on the other side, so it's like a reversible blanket. The yarn, which is Wizard by Barocco, is beautiful, and it like changes. It's also very lightweight. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah, I just really like the yarn, and because it's superwash and soft and, you know, all those things, I was like, oh, I'll pair it with some stuff that we have at the shop, because people are always asking for baby blankets. So I thought I could write up a pattern and then we could just like suggest it to people and have a sample at the store. So I need to get on that because the yarn is back in stock, and I also wanted to do like a little YouTube video so that there could be a pattern for it. So yeah, that's it's probably just under halfway done. The plan is for it to be about 32 by 32 inches, which is the size of baby blanket that I prefer to do. So yeah, I just have to do it. It won't take that long, but there we go. Let me upload this one. For those keeping track at home, that is 5 WIPs. I posted on my Discord a little guess how many WIPs I have, so let's see. Let's see what people thought. Okay, so I had people guess whether it would be 5 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, or 30 plus, okay? We've got one person who thought it might be 5 to 10. They're probably being proven wrong. 4 people who thought it might be 11 to 20, and 4 people who thought it was going to be 21 to 30, and no one thought it was going to be 30 plus, which we'll see. I feel like it may be in the 21-30 category, but it's most likely in the 11 to 20. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up. But yes, that is 5. I also have this little one. So we're moving on to accessories, baby sweaters. We'll see where we are. This is a Musselburgh hat that I actually cast on for Kay to work on out of some Handspun. So I don't know if that, I mean, it does count because it's like on the needles. It's with this pretty Handspun. I talked about it in the last podcast episode because I was working on a couple of them. Come on, focus. It's really, really pretty. So that's just like hanging out next to the TV whenever Kay feels like it. And I just popped it in this little bag, so I will post it because it is technically a WIP. Don't worry. This is already feeling like a lot. Okay, I have to keep an eye on my battery because I can see that it's already mad. Okay, I've got this project bag. Oh yeah, okay. So in here, I've got one mitt that without the ends woven in. These are the Shine Mittens by Sophia Camaborn. I feel like I just talked about them. I don't know if I showed it. It's so pretty. It's in some of my favorite yarn, which is Urso Yarn Co. I just need to knit the second one. And this took me like 2 days, okay? It's so nice. If I don't do it now, I probably won't be able to wear them until next season. So, it's with their colorways that were for the holidays not last year, the year before. So it's Twinkle Lights and Bourbon Eggnog. And it's with their single ply. It's kind of like a rustic, really pretty yarn. They feel great. I'm gonna like wearing them so much, but yeah, I just haven't done it. So get on it, Mackenzie, please, so you can wear that. That is number 7. Okay, I just did a wee bit of rearranging so that I can kind of stay in like a theme of like projects, like group them into categories. So the next one that is an accessory is a shawl, and that is this Snowdrift Shawl from the book Knitting for Winter. Wait, Knits About Winter from Pom Pom. So this is actually the end of the shawl. Like this is the point. And you just like hold all these different mohair colors to get different, this different pattern as you go. I was really excited to cast this on after Christmas. And so I did, but this is like a night of knitting and then I haven't touched it. I want the shawl. I think I will knit the shawl, but yeah, it might take a little while. It feels so nice. The main color that I'm using is this, I think it's a 100% Romney from the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival, and yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it except that, you know, it's we're going slowly. I think that's actually it for accessories, which is good news. So total count right now is 8 WIPs, so for sure I am not in the 5 to 10 category. Who believed in me and thought that that was right? Nitwit. So sorry to say that we're gonna breeze on into the 11 to 20 category. So now we're moving into sweaters. I've got 2 kiddo sweaters that I'm working on, and then we will move into adult size sweaters. Both of them are like so close to being done, but they're not done. I usually don't get stuck on Sleeve Island, but for whatever reason, baby stuff and sleeves I'm not into. So I've got this little guy, which was supposed to go to my niece for Halloween and did not, clearly. I just like stopped working on it. I don't even know where the other color went. It's not in the project bag. So I need to decide if I'm going to frog that because it might not fit anymore, or I think this might be the first one that's going in the frog pile, actually, because I don't know where this other color is. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. So we're gonna, okay, yes, That feels really good. Good decision. Oh no. So, this one is gonna go on my notebook. I'm not gonna put it on Ravelry, but I'm gonna use a different color pen because I am frogging it. Okay, goodbye, frog pond. And that clears up a project bag too, which is one of my favorites, so. Okay. The next baby sweater is also for my niece. This was a sample for the store. I have shoved it in here. I went to knit night one night and I just completely forgot my project, and the owner of the store was there and I was like, I forgot my knitting, and she was like, too bad, there's nowhere that you could get some more yarn to work on a project. And I was like, well, what do we need a sample of? And we have this Rico Essentials acrylic, and I was like, oh, we totally need a sample in that. So I'm knitting this for my niece. You may remember that I knit her this exact pattern in a different yarn when she was like in gestation. And now this is a size 2 for her. So this part is done. I'm not putting buttons on this. I'm actually going to do snaps. And then I just started the first sleeve. Again, I'm not really like enjoying the sleeve. I don't know why I'm like so caught up on the sleeve, but here we are. This is like a priority one. This is one I've been working on because I want to get it done and at the store so that people can feel how nice this yarn knits up and how soft it is. I do have to buy like a snap machine, which I've been wanting. Snap machine, it's not really a machine. A tool to like adhere snaps to this, which is something I've been wanting to get because I have a lot of kiddos in my life, and I think that those are a lot easier both for parents dressing babies and for kiddos who are like learning dexterity to be able to at least take off on their own. So I'm gonna buy a snap machine, and then this will be done hopefully by the next podcast episode. It's turning out very cute. I like the colors quite a bit. There wasn't a huge selection of colors, but I'm pretty happy with the way these ones are turning out, and it is just incredibly soft. This is the first time I've knit with acrylic in a long time that I've enjoyed it. I did just knit Kay that like reflective Musselburgh hat, and I did not like working with that acrylic. This acrylic is very soft, very smooth. So yeah, that'll, I think, work really well for her. So that is project number 10. And I am actually going to transfer it from the tiny project bag into this project bag because it wasn't really fitting in the other one. Okay, now we're moving into adult sweaters. The first one that I want to mention has not been cast on yet because, again, it's a sample for the store. And so I have the yarn held aside to work on. So let me grab that. So I'm using Andorra, which is the Kelborn Woolens yarn in this lovely shade of lavender. It's called lavender. I'm not sure that I would call it lavender. It's like a mauve. Come on, focus. There we go. It's merino wool, Highland wool, and mohair. So I thought that would be fun. And I'm pairing it with these skeins of Rusted Rainbow, which, you know, it was really hard to pick colors to kind of go with it because a lot of the spin cycle yarns didn't have enough contrast. So there were colors that debatably go better with it than these, but I felt like it wouldn't stand out enough. It's just a little pullover sweater. It's a Barocco pattern. It has some color work up top. We wanted a sample that didn't use like 8 to 10 skeins of spin cycle. So in my size, you just need 2 to do the contrast colors. So that's something, once I'm done with the baby cardigan, I have to cast this on and make this my primary knitting. I actually just got this yarn and I was waiting until after yarn crawl to cast it on. So yeah, this was just back ordered. I don't even think it was back ordered. I think we just hadn't purchased it. So that is coming down the pike. I'll post, yeah, I can't remember the name of the pattern off the top of my head. I do have a copy of it in my Ravelry library, and I will talk more in depth about this project in the next podcast episode, but I did want to mention it. We're at 11 WIPs, one of which is being frogged, so good job. So the next one you've been seeing me work on in live streams, which is my improv colorwork sweater. So that's going. It's going slowly, just it's all over colorwork. I need to switch onto a longer circular needle, I think. But yeah, that's going. It's just slow going. I'm working on it when I'm working on it. And I still have quite a ways to go before I separate for the sleeves and body. I'll give you a better update during the next podcast episode, but yeah, I don't have much to say about that, but this is one of the WIPs. So in sort of line with the last one, I've got my other DIY sweater that I'm working on, which is the Sin Vergüenza Sweater. I talked about it in my last podcast episode, and I haven't made any progress on it because I'm really just at the boring knitting the body part. I'll get there eventually. I think part of why I'm like not making a lot of progress on the sweaters that, or like just projects in general that are just plain stockinette, is because I'm not prioritizing my knitting time at knit night, which I do usually get a good chunk of knitting done every week. So yeah, and that's also usually why I don't have that many projects going at once, because then you can sort of see more progress happening. But right now, because I'm like spread over so many things, the progress is just happening in like such small chunks that it feels like it's taking forever. So lesson to be learned of moving forward about you know, taking on a lot of projects and what that'll look like. So I think at the end of this, I'm going to think about which ones I need to prioritize and which ones I want to prioritize. Because yeah, I just haven't been doing a very good job of that. And it kind of takes a toll on my, like, I don't know, knitting mental health. Because it just feels like I'm just not actually getting anywhere. Which I don't love. Okay, that was number 13. So, we're in the final little countdown. Let's see. These last 4. I think there's 4 left. All maybe for the frog pile, because these are like the longest standing ones that I've ripped out before, ones that I probably haven't even shared here. Or if I have, it was a long time ago. So Okay, the first one is this sweater that I was excited about at one point. I need to look up the name of it. So this is the Demilune tot by Sachiko Bergen. It's, did I say that right? The Demilune, yeah. I was using this wonderful color of Mo Fibers. I am like at this part where you start doing the armhole shaping. I think what I was worried about, like the drape of this yarn is so pretty. It's a merino silk, superwash merino silk. It's naturally dyed by my friend Rin. Okay, come on, focus. Maybe. And I bought this for a different project and it's been sitting, and I thought this would be really good because of the drape. However, I got nervous that it's just gonna, like, I don't know, not be flattering. I don't know, I just I thought that when I got to the armhole shaping I would get more excited about it because I was like making progress, but I don't know, I wasn't. And I took the needles back for another project. I don't remember what needle size. I don't totally feel like I want to unravel it yet. So I think I'm gonna leave it. Because I'm not sure what else I would do with this yarn. It's kind of an unusual base for me. So, and it like will feel nice. Yeah, I need to think on this one a little bit more. I mean, maybe this will be something that when the spring, like, it starts feeling more like spring, I'll really want to work on and we'll pick it up again. So, I'm gonna leave this one for the time being. This yarn has been sort of this eternal frustration. So I initially knit this into a Humboldt sweater by Animalts, which the grading was very frustrating and it was too big. It was my Rhinebeck sweater like 4 years ago and I immediately unraveled it. It was held double with a Quince & Co. Chickadee, I think, and then this is cotton, I can't remember the name of it, but it's from Green Mountain Spinnery. It's like a cotton wool blend. So I had a sweater quantity of this yarn and I started this, it's really blowing out. That's a more accurate color. This raglan, pretty raglan increase from the Pom Pom Mag raglan shirt. I probably did talk about this sweater a long time ago. Once I had gotten here, I actually gave it to Kay and they were knitting on it and just doing the body. And then at some point I tried it on and I was worried that it was too small and I needed to start doing some shaping on it. So I took it and was like, I don't want to deal. Like, this was supposed to just be like a thing that I knit and didn't do any adjustments on. So I don't know how many inches it has on the body, like quite a bit, but maybe I need to try it on again and like assess. I think I just didn't want to rip back, but maybe it's not that bad and I should just try it on and sort of see where it's at. But yeah, so that's one that is just kind of in time out. But I think I would wear this color. I think. I mean, it's a little bright for me. I don't know. I have to decide. If you would be interested in this yarn, if it seems like something that you would like knit with, because like this is screaming Susan to me, let me know and I'll send it to you. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. I will try it on again, but yeah, let's yeah, I don't know. Again, I think I need to do some more assessing before I make any decisions, but I'll update you in the next podcast episode, like what I decide on these ones that I'm sort of like about. I'll let you know. The yarn is called Cotton Comfort from Green Mountain Spinnery. That's what it's called. And the pattern for this one is called Woodwardia. It's from the Pom Pom Raglan book, as well as from a previous episode of Pom Pom, in case you were wondering. Are we? No, there's two more. I was like, are we at the end? No. So this one is one that I cast on. I have almost nothing knit in it. Oh my god, I stole the needles off of it. It is in this amazing yarn that has since been discontinued, this Cormo from Elemental Affects. I've got a lot of orange projects going on. And it's like a top-down sweater. I've knit like 5 inches. It's a top-down cardigan, kind of drop shoulder, chill. It was supposed to replace another sweater that is ready to wear that's in this. Just haven't touched it. I mean, that's quite a bit of knitting, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much. Again, this one I'm gonna leave for a little bit and see if I'm gonna pick it back up, because it's just like there's too many other things. I don't know what else to say. So I did talk about this somewhat recently, like within the last 6 months, but yeah, it's bad news when I take the needles off of something. Like I just like left. Yeah, I don't know. Again, the last 3 I'm just like, I don't know. Okay, well, adding it to the list regardless. Let me find the name of this. I also wonder if I'm like hitting decision fatigue, and just like, I don't know. This pattern is called Rebel Rebel. Okay. Like sometimes just because things are a good idea doesn't mean that you want to do that good idea right now. This is the kind of project that makes me wish that I had a knitting machine because it's so much stockinette. I would wear it a lot, but do I want to knit it and like do that much stockinette? I don't know. This is like very, usually I'm a little more relentless than this, and maybe I should just frog it. I don't know. You guys, what do you think? As I get to the end of this video, let me know. Should I frog it? Okay, and then last but certainly not least, this is going to be project 17. Okay, so we didn't make it to 20, but we're pretty freaking close to 20. And that is my Corrie Confetti birthday sweater from 2021. Yeah, I just like fully took it off of the needles because I realized it wasn't working. I started doing a sleeve. Whoop. This was, again, an improv sweater. And as you can see when I do these improv sweaters, I frequently get to below the armpit and then lose steam. I was pretty excited about this and happy with it, but I think I needed to incorporate some shaping. But, you know, this yarn is so special that maybe what I need to actually do is just rip it out. I think I'm gonna frog it. Because I really want to wear this. It's gonna replace another sweater in Brooklyn Tweed that I have that's in their color that's very similar, but it's not holding up well. So I thought this would just be a fun alternative. But let's see, I'm gonna take this out, this little needle out, and let's try it on real quick. See, it's like fine, but it's not super exciting. I think that's where I was at. Yeah, we're gonna frog it. We're gonna frog it. Okay. So I'm gonna also frog that other one. I don't care. I'm gonna just frog it. This is what I was slightly worried about happening as I did this. So I'm going to frog. I'm gonna frog the like last 3 that I looked at. And that baby sweater for my niece. So, of 17 projects, at least 4 or 3 or 4 are going to the frog pond. I'll update you in the next video, in the next podcast episode. I will show you the yarn and be like, look at what I have accomplished. And yeah, I'm gonna put my head down and finish some stuff. I really want to finish the socks for Tim. I also really want to finish the baby cardigan that is a sample for the shop and cast on the next project, which I'll give you more info about during the next episode of the podcast. And then from there, we'll see. I'm going to also continue to work on the crochet blanket as it moves me, but those are my priorities. Okay? I'm hoping that by the next podcast episode, there will be significant movement in all of those. But yes, thank you so much for sitting through this with me. If you want to look at all the projects that I uploaded, I just put them on my Ravelry. I'm Emtothethird on Ravelry as well. Yeah, I'm going to reflect on this and my complete doneness right now. And update you in the next podcast episode. Please let me know, how many WIPs do you have? How many WIPs do you have on your needles right now or in project bags? I want to know. Make me feel less bad. And yeah, I don't know. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll give you updates next time I see you. And please tune in for Tuesdays live streams, which are happening pretty consistently unless something happens like me getting COVID. I'll see you soon. Really, thanks for hanging out and keeping me company during this. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.